Yo, what's up, guys? I have received a lot of comments and a lot of different videos have been popping up in my feed concerning the Retrofit Escapade and Gerfalcons and the Gerfalcons exotic, seeing a lot of infinite explosions. So I decided to make a build on it. The Retrofit Escapade is gonna hit that damage threshold to trigger those infinite detonations. I am making a new Discord, so if you guys like the content and want to keep up to date what I'm doing and the new videos I will be posting, join the Discord. The link will be down in the description, and subscribe to the channel. Let's jump straight into the build. Now, the infinite explosions you're going to be seeing, or detonations you're going to be seeing on the screen, is due to the fact that it's a 900 RPM machine gun and it has volatile rounds because we're using Gerfalcons, exotic Gerfalcons. We're having volatile explosions trigger infinitely because we're hitting a certain damage threshold. Now, to make that happen, we're going to be combining a few different things. I'm going to show you guys 3 different ways to go invisible so you can get your volatile explosion. We're going to be using Wither Horde combined with the seasonal artifact Weaken Clear. So we're going to be giving a 15% debuff to any champion or boss, so it's easier for us to hit that damage threshold to trigger those infinite explosions like you're seeing on the screen. Now, it doesn't matter, the role on your Retrofit Escapade doesn't matter until you craft it, unless you really don't want to craft it and you're just trying to look for a good god roll. There are a lot of good rolls floating around, but in my opinion, until you craft it, don't really worry too much about the roll. And your setup in your Void 3.0 subclass doesn't matter. All you need to do is all you need to have is really the Gerfalcons exotic, because once you go invisible and you start shooting your weapon, you're able to trigger these infinite explosions with the Retrofit Escapade. So the only 2 to 3 things that are required for the build will be Gerfalcon, Retrofit Escapade, and Wither Horde. So to make this build combo work, what you want to do is you want to weaken an enemy with your Wither Horde while using the Weaken Clear artifact mod of this, or the seasonal artifact mod. So you get a 15% debuff on that enemy. You want to go invisible. You're going invisible, and then you want to shoot your Retrofit Escapade so that your Retrofit Escapade will gain volatile rounds, and then you just start laying it on heavy onto the enemy, and you're going to be triggering infinite volatile explosions since you're consistently hitting that damage threshold. In my opinion, the roll doesn't matter until you craft it, because until you craft it, you're not going to be able to maximize. Until you craft it, you're going to be spending hours of farming just to get a bad roll. So just don't really stress about the roll. It's mostly important that you just get the weapon. Since we just discussed how the build works, how the setup works, let's talk about how we're going to be going invisible using the Void 3.0 setup. This is my twist onto the build. We're going to be using Stylish Executioner in our aspect. So anytime we defeat a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target, it's going to grant us invisibility. And with Gerfalcons, anytime we shoot out of invisibility, we're going to be gaining volatile rounds. So that means anytime you hit an enemy with your snare bomb and then you kill them, you're going to gain invisibility. Anytime you kill an enemy with your vortex grenade, because we are going to be using Echo of Undermining, it's going to weaken them. Once you defeat a target, or even if you don't defeat the target, as long as you make them weaken and then you defeat them, it's going to grant you invisibility. And with Gerfalcons, anytime you shoot your weapon before you exit invisibility, you're going to be granted volatile rounds. So those are 2 ways to have volatile rounds if you're struggling to get your volatile rounds. Hit an enemy with your snare bomb to make them weaken, defeat that target, or hit an enemy with your grenade, make them weakened, and then defeat them. Those are 2 ways. The third way is just by dodging and going straight into invisibility. Those are the 3 ways you're able to gain invisibility in this build. And after you gain invisibility, the next thing you need to do is just shoot your Retrofit Escapade, and it has volatile round. Everything else of the build I am using will be Vanishing Step. Vanishing Step is so that when we do dodge, we will become invisible, and that will trigger the entire loop of the exotic combo. The fragments we are currently rocking will be Echo of Persistent, Echo of Undermining, so we're able to weaken our targets and combine that with Stylish Executioner, so we are able to grant invisibility, Echo of Leeching, and then Echo of Starvation, so we do gain some sustainable way to consistently regain health back. After we have all of those, we now want to optimize the build so we're able to consistently hit that damage threshold. We're going to be using Elemental Time Dilation combined with Reaping Wellmaker combined with Font of Might. Now to break that down, we're going to be using Reaping Wellmaker, so anytime we do dodge and go into invisibility, the next final blow we do get will spawn an Elemental Well. Reaping Wellmaker, to read it verbatim, after activating your class ability, your next weapon final blow spawns a Void Elemental Well. After we spawn that Void Elemental Well, we're going to be using Font of Might, so we're going to be gaining a 20% increase to our damage, and since Retrofit Escapade is a Void weapon, you see how it's going to stack on top of that damage. So your Retrofit Escapade is going to gain a nice 20% damage buff combined with the 15% debuff from Wither Horde by using with the horde and weaken clear. So we're using Reaping Wellmaker combined with Font of Might combined with Elemental Time Dilation, so we can extend the duration of Font of Might. All Font of Might means is once you pick up an elemental wall that matches your subclass, you're gonna gain that damage buff. And that's how we're able to consistently hit that damage threshold to trigger those infinite explosions you're seeing on the screen right now. Yeah, so this build, that's pretty much the setup. You're able to consistently hit the damage threshold with Retrofit Escapade once you do go to bosses and champions. Other than that, if you're not using your Retrofit Escapade, throw on a void weapon, go in and out of invisibility using the 3 ways I just talked about, and you're able to still slay out enemies with volatile rounds. And once you get to a champion or a boss, you throw it on the weaken clear by using your Wither Horde, dive into invisibility using one of the 3 ways I just talked about, and once you are invisible, shoot your weapon or your Retrofit Escapade so you do have volatile rounds. And since you are going to be able to get that buff and the debuff, you should be able to consistently hit that damage threshold, and you should have no problem seeing the infinite explosions you're seeing on the screen to make happen for you. And that's it for the video, and that's it for the build. If you guys like the build, like, comment, and subscribe, and please join the Discord in the link below. I'll see you guys next time.